The Berenstain Bears Storybook Bible, written by Jan and Mike Berenstain, read especially for you by Krystena Lee. It was time for Papa Bear to read Brother, Sister, and Honey a bedtime story, but the cubs couldn't agree on a story. Brother wanted an exciting story about space grizzlies. Sister wanted a nice story about princesses. Honey wanted a happy story about bunnies or chipmunks.
"Let's read a Bible story," said Papa. "The Bible has all kinds of stories. Exciting ones, nice ones, happy ones, even serious ones."
The cubs liked Bible stories. They were all about sword fights and floods and wild animals, all sorts of interesting things. "Okay," Brother and Sister agreed, and even Honey clapped. So Papa got out the Storybook Bible and began to read. The cubs had fun imagining that all the characters in the stories were bears just like them. The Old Testament. In the beginning, Genesis 1. In the beginning, God made the heaven and the earth. First, all was dark. But God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. And God called the light day. He called the darkness night. And that was the first day, and it was very good. God said, "Let the heavens appear." The heavens stretched over great waters. God called the heavens sky. That was the second day, and it was very good. God made dry land appear. God called the water sea, and he called the land earth. God covered the earth with plants and trees. That was the third day, and it was very good. God made the sun and the moon, the planets and the stars. He placed them in the heavens. That was the fourth day, and it was very good. God made all the creatures that live in the sea and fly in the air. He made the great whales and the fish and the birds. That was the fifth day, and it was very good. God made all the animals that live on the earth. He made deer and giraffes, hippos and lions, bugs and slugs, turtles and frogs. Then he made a man and a woman. They were called Adam and Eve. God saw that it was all good. That was the sixth day. On the seventh day, God rested. God blessed the seventh day because it was his special day of rest. Adam and Eve, Genesis 2. When God made the earth, he planted a garden in the east, in Eden, and placed Adam there. In the middle of the garden, there was a beautiful fruit tree. God told Adam that he could eat anything in the garden except the fruit of that tree. When Adam first got to the garden, he gave names to all the animals. But Adam became lonely, so God created Eve. Together, Adam and Eve cared for the garden and lived in peace with all the animals. The snake was the slyest of all animals in the garden. He came to Eve one day and said, "The fruit of the tree in the middle of the garden looks very sweet. Why don't you taste it?" But Eve said, "God said we should not eat it." And the snake said, "Try it anyway." So Eve ate the fruit and shared some with Adam too. After they ate the fruit, Adam and Eve knew they had done something wrong. They were frightened and hid themselves in the garden. But God knew what Adam and Eve had done. He was sad that they had not obeyed him, and he was angry with that sneaky snake. God said to the snake, "Because you have done this, you must crawl on your belly from now on." The snake crawled away, and snakes have been crawling ever since. To Adam and Eve, God said, "Since you have not followed the rules in my garden, you must go out and grow your own food." Adam and Eve had to leave the garden. God placed angels and a flaming sword to guard the entrance. Adam and Eve could not go back. They went out into the world and began to farm the land, and they had many children. And that's the end for now, but join us next week when we read about Noah.